So I'm Associate Professor Fiona Dyer. I'm with the Centre for Applied Water Science at the University of Canberra, and I'm a researcher who's interested in water. I'm particularly interested in water quality and the way in which we manage our water and our water resources to benefit both humans and the environment. I guess it's not really algae. So it's a cyanobacteria is the thing that we are most interested in urban lakes, and it's sometimes called blue-green algae, but its actually proper name is cyanobacteria, and it's an organism that's found in fresh waters and in marine waters all around the world. So it's found in oceans and in fresh waters and in estuaries, and it's an organism, it most closely resembles a plant in the way in which it behaves and responds, but it's not actually a plant. So a nutrient is an essential element for growth, fundamentally. So we all know that plants need certain things to grow. So fertiliser contains a range of elements that enable plants to grow, and those elements are nutrients. So it's the same with algae, with blue-green algae or cyanobacteria. They need nutrients to grow. So things like nitrogen, phosphorus and carbon are the three main nutrients required for these things to grow in water. It can be toxic. Not all blue-green algae are toxic. So it's quite complicated. There's a lot of species of cyanobacteria, and some of them are toxic and some of them are toxic sometimes. So it's quite complicated. So it depends on the species of blue-green algae that you have within a lake system as to whether it's toxic or not. In Lake Tuggeranong, behind us here, they get a range of species of blue-green algae in the lake, and some of those species are toxic. Absolutely. So just because a lake gets toxic blue-green algae in it doesn't mean that it's toxic all the time. You have to have a certain concentration of that algae present before it is potentially harmful to humans and to animals. And our lakes around Canberra are managed by the ACT government, except for Lake Burley Griffin, but these lakes are managed by the ACT government, and they test the water quality regularly, and that information is available to the public. And there's a fabulous app called Swim Guide that you should check before you go and swim in one of the urban lakes around Canberra, because that would tell you whether it is safe to go swimming or not. And so you should definitely go for a swim. It's a great summer's activity to come down with the family and go for a swim in the lake, but check the water quality first. A series of buoys on the lake, which is over near the dam wall there, and they mark out a set of experimental chambers that we've got in the lake. What we're doing is looking to see whether there's a particular treatment that we could use to minimise the time that the lake experiences blue-green algae. How long is a piece of string? So I think the reality is for these lakes is that there's not a quick, easy solution to stopping the algal blooms. So they're driven, the key driver of them are nutrient concentrations, and the majority of the nutrients that gets into Lake Tuggeranong comes from the area around the lake that drains into it. And so that means that all the people who live within what we call that catchment area, their activities potentially contribute nutrients into the lake. And stopping that takes change in the way in which people behave, and it takes a long time. So it will take many, many years before we improve the quality of water getting into Lake Tuggeranong enough that we'll see a marked decrease in the amount of algal blooms that we experience.